they're sick that I've kept max funding for years and fucking rinsed them for 65 grand or 50 grand or 15. Fucking taking a challenge. You're like, I'm gonna full port this challenge prior to news. It's, I don't know, 15 minutes before news, and it's lines up with all your other confluences. Fuck it, it's a challenge.
And what Kai discovered a
Yeah.
fucking cheat code for prop firms that completely obliterates prop firms. Not really, because they still make money off of it, but we're
Yeah, you're
guaranteed.
still
We're
gonna.
guaranteed.
It,
Here's the
it,
thing.
it,
It's a win-win scenario. So most traders blow their accounts before they ever see any profit. But today I'm sitting down with one of my best friends, Kai, who started with nothing and strategized on a way to never lose money with a prop firm. Kai, it feels
yep.
great to have you on the show as our first appearance. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. So first, I want to get into your story. What was your story like? So,
So the way I got involved in trading was actually because of Chase himself. He always told me about it, and I always was skeptical and stuff, and I kind of kept it in the back of my mind. But at the same time, I was using cryptocurrencies to make payments and stuff. But I would always never hold any crypto, and I always felt like it was a scam to hold it. And what really got me into trading for real was I had an escrow payment that was sent back to me, and when I got the crypto back, it had doubled in price, and I was hooked. I was like, wow. And for some reason, that persuaded me to put literally all the money I had hidden under my mattress in crypto. And it happened to be the right time. I mean, for the first weekend, I was down pretty severely, but this was the end of 2020 going into 2021 when the bull market first started from around 10,000 to 60,000. I rode that out with multiple coins and didn't exit at the top. He was telling me, oh my God, he seen my portfolio. And he's like, sell right now. And I was like, no. Watched it crash 60%. Then after crash came up a little bit, I sold out and tried my luck at leverage trading on an exchange. Made 10,000 in like an hour. Didn't close that out because, of course, how was I going to close that out if I can't close out on my fucking positions? Lost it. And then over the next week, I proceeded to lose $30,000, and I had to take a break for a few years where I just demo traded and learned the skill. Eventually, Chase put me onto prop firms, which I also thought was a scam and very skeptical of. And eventually, that became the goal to pass a prop firm. Spent a few years practicing going for the 8% without losing less than the daily drawdown.
yeah, I remember back when we used to just fucking leverage trade crypto and we'd be down. We'd be like, bro, like, why are we doing this? Like, why are we fucking leverage trading $100? What are we doing? And now
Yeah,
it's funny because I look back and it's like that was like the very beginning. And I remember back when I first looked into trading as a whole, and it all stemmed to this point now, and it's like it just became something way bigger. You know what I mean?
yeah. Really, those are our fucking learning experiences that got us where we are. I mean, shit, that education and the time for 30,000, losing that in a week, that was rough. And I didn't touch trading for years. But in the back of my head, I was like, I'm gonna get my fucking lick back. I swear to God, I'm gonna make this shit back. I swear to God. And I just demo traded and worked on actually developing a skill because I was going into that just blindly feeling out the candles. Like clearly, I couldn't close long-term positions at the top. So how am I gonna close a chart that needs you to close within 30 seconds or some shit?
Right. So, what was your life like before trading?
I just used to do construction. I did an apprenticeship in high school where I learned the ins and outs of carpentry. And I really, really, really enjoyed it. And I would have stuck with it, except for the guy that I was working with ended up selling his small company to a very large company. And then they put me, instead of doing all the hands-on stuff, laying tile, doing bathrooms, all that stuff, they had me at the bottom with the guys hauling trash out at a big-ass hotel. And occasionally pull me off to the side, do some drywall and shit. And I had to drive 2 hours there. It wasn't working for me. So that's when I ended up getting involved back in the crypto stuff, and it all went from there.
And how did you discover trading?
So I discovered trading from just using cryptocurrencies. I had used them to send payments here and there, and I would never really hold them. But what really got me hooked was when I got that refund from escrow service, and the price of Bitcoin had doubled, and I was like, wow. This is pretty cool. But before that, I really didn't believe it. Every single time I would have a little extra crypto, I'd be like, back to cash, back to cash. Because I mean, this was during the time when Bitcoin was hovering around 10,000 and had that dip to like 3K, back to 10,000, and then a year later it was back at 3K. I remember March of 2020 when it was at 5K. I was like, dude, I should get some. This is like half price right now because it pretty much just stayed at 10K my whole lifetime of using it. It was just 10K, pretty much 9K, 10K, whatever. And then it had those lower dips.
Damn.
So yeah, that's what really got me.
Imagine buying Solana at $3.
What'd you say?
Imagine buying Solana at $3.
Oh yeah, Solana was like 50 cents back then. Yeah, Solana wasn't even on anyone's radar. You would have had to use like, I don't even know. It wasn't on any major exchange. It wasn't on anything back then.
Right, you had to use fucking, what is it, Uniswap? I don't even think Uniswap was a thing back then.
Well, that's ETH based. I don't know if they have like a bridge. Should be more educated about these things.
So,
Yes.
what made you believe that trading could actually change your life?
Well, that bull market, when I put everything in, like I had saved all my money from construction here and there, and I wouldn't even trust banks. I was one of those guys that would get my paycheck, pull it out, and literally store it under my mattress. Not actually under my mattress, but you get the point. So, um, what really made me very intrigued with it was that bull run where I managed to make a life-changing amount of money, unrealized, obviously. I did not realize this if the IRS is watching or anyone that thinks I made anything from it. I did not. I gave it all back. But that floating profit, where in 3 months I had made the most money I've ever seen in my life, that's what really got me hooked.
Okay. How much money did you start with?
Um, what I put into crypto was actually a sizable amount, but you have to remember that I was working since high school. I put around $30,000 into crypto as my cost basis, and these prices that I was getting in, it was like $800, $700 ETH, Bitcoin between 10 and 20K. And then one of the biggest crazy plays was Dogecoin. I only put a band in that, and it floated up to like 25 grand, and I didn't sell.
I remember that. I remember that shit.
But one of my worst coins that like dragged me is I actually put like 10,000 of that money, like a huge chunk, into Litecoin, which really lagged behind. And the whole fucking cycle, I was just hearing people bitch about Litecoin. That's just dead. It's dead. It's dead. It's dead. And it really was honestly because of a family friend that had told me that Litecoin was the secret this cycle. So I went heavy on Litecoin and really missed out on the gains on the other ones.
I remember who that family friend is too.
Yeah, dude, that was bad decision. And of course, I didn't sell that. I watched that shit hit $420 in 2021. I was actually with a friend that had a horse farm, and she was had a horse that was giving birth. I'm looking at Litecoin in a fucking stable at $420 on my phone. I'm like, let me sell this. Look, and another problem that I didn't want to sell is because I had Coinbase not advanced. So when Coinbase was raping me for fees, like I made a transfer on ETH to like I don't know, what was that other coin that I had? Some other coin, and it charged me $1,000 in fees. Like I see these ads that say, "Hey, did you get scammed by Coinbase fees back in the time back then?" You didn't know how much you were paying for fees on Coinbase, and it was several percent, not a fraction of a percent, big percentage, and it changed based on the network fees.
Were we talking about Cardano?
No, I never owned Cardano. I owned, it was that one. I sound like a retard not knowing what it was. That one that was basically like a staking project that. Oh, what the hell, man! You like that coin? It was
Yeah, I think I remember what you're talking about. It was a website where you stake shit and they fucking like. I remember what you're talking about. I can't. That was back when I was doing construction too. I can't remember what the fuck.
Yeah.
It was like 2020, 2021.
Yeah, I had a small portfolio of like the main coins that I listed. That was like the big shit, but I had a couple $100 and some bullshit. None of that. Honestly, what a lot of the projects I got in later, trying to be like the smart guy buying up the coins that are going to do big things, those never did shit. The big play was all just getting in the shit early. Like I actually lost gains on shit like NKN, Orchard, Chainlink, all that stuff lagged and did not perform that year.
Chainlink.
Yeah. Cartesi got rug pulled on that. And then there were some that I never got into that were some very small. You would have to use like a DEX, and I missed the fuck out of them, and they flew like they would have made life changing money. They would have made my whole portfolio double, like just from like 1% type shit. But that's part of the game.
Yeah, there's always fucking so many misses, bro. So many misses. I wish I could capitalize on. If I could rewind time, bro, I wish, dude. But how long did it take before you became profitable with trading?
Well, I mean, it's not really that fair of a metric because I really did during the years when I went from losing that 30 grand and feeling like my life was over to demo trading and having to pay, because like I put a couple friends on now after the fact, they don't have the patience to sit there and just demo trade for 4 years. I spent 4 years just demo trading. Maybe not 4 total years, but let's say like 3 years.
Oh, I know I have.
Patience, bro. I know. Like you couldn't hold your hands tight while those 3 years. Well, I didn't fucking risk $1. You put a fucking $1,000 in a fucking accounts and shit. But yeah,
did it take you? What would you say, like in the amount of years?
I would say technically I was probably profitable even back when I lost that 30 grand. I just didn't have the risk management. I had the intuition with the market. I've always had just a really good intuition with the market, but that doesn't always work. You have to have confluences that align with your intuition. So I would say to be seriously consistency profitable with risk management and everything, I'd say probably 1.5 years, but I wasted 1.5 years because if I would have got on this prop firm shit early, man, I would have had multiple millions funded and hundreds of thousands in payouts. Because when I finally got into this was around the time when the MT5 licenses started to go away, when all the bullshit started happening, prop firms started rug pulling. I managed to avoid most of the rug pulls. I only dealt with one prop firm that it was called, oh my God, I don't even know. Like Union Wealth Management, scam prop firm. They had a good, they had like the same as my funded FX, which was the first one I ever got funded on. They had a similar platform and similar rules. So I tried using them, and they pretty much just gave me a funded account, and I go to request my payout, and they just continually bullshit me for 2 months saying, "Oh, we're working on it. Never paid me out. Called my credit card company, got the challenge fees back, but wasted months of time. And at that time, I only had 100K funded on my funded FX, and I had bought 300K worth of challenges on this other platform. So that really set me back for a few months working on those challenges and scraping by with 100K payouts, which doesn't really scrape you by, but I mean, if that's your only income, 100K, and you only take 2%, that's good enough, but it depends where you live. Depends if you live on your own or what. But yeah.
So what was the most amount of money you ever lost starting out?
Well, actually, when I first got in, I floated around on that 30K I put in. I floated around like a 35% loss. This was when Bitcoin had crossed 20,000, pumped to 30,000. My basis on Bitcoin alone, because I had not had an exchange and my money in a banking system, I had a little bit of delay between this time when I realized that I wanted to full port my life savings into crypto to when I actually got in. So that delay cost me a weekend where I was down around $10,000 unrealized of the 30, which I was shitting my pants. But after the weekend ended, shit went right back up, right into profit, and I was sitting in profit for months and months. Just every day, I wake up, more profit, more profit, more profit. I mean, I was hooked, man.
So that wasn't a realized loss. That was just a floating.
Realized loss. Yeah, realized loss was after crypto had topped and then gone down 60%, and then came up about 20%. I thought, okay, now it's going to zero. I'm going to short this shit. But first, I didn't short it. Actually, I caught the trade that I caught was a buy that floated 10,000 that I didn't pull out, and then I lost that. So the biggest realized loss is over that week when I decided to start leverage trading like a degen on 50x, and a week went by and I had cleared out $30,000. So I had lost $30,000 in 1 week. That was my largest realized loss in my life.
Yeah,
big shit.
I remember when that shit happened, dude. I felt that for you, and I don't even know.
Oh,
I don't even know. I felt that.
No, it was. I mean, I guess not realizing those gains at the top was worse because I mean I lost more unrealized than 30 grand. I mean I lost almost $200,000 unrealized from the top of crypto down. But yeah, that $30,000 loss hit so badly. I have this vision in my head that I always think of where I was taking a shower after all this shit, and I just picture stomping $30,000 down the drain, stomp it down the shower drain. That's what I pictured months after that. I just pictured it would have been better if I would have just taken $30,000 cash and stomped it down the drain. that's what I visualization for that.
That's wild.
Yeah.
You never told me that. That's funny as shit.
I still think about it. Every time I look down at that drain, I'm like, I remember that day. I remember those days. I remember that, bro.
I'm not even you, but I think about that day at least once a month. I'm like, God damn, bro. Like, fuck.
Bro, the worst is when you told me to sell. This guy told me at the top. He's like, oh my God. Like, he's seen my portfolio and he did not believe it. He did not believe it. He did not believe it.
What was it, like 100?
You're like, no fucking way you're in that deep. I was in balls deep. I mean, I sold my car to put in more into crypto. Like, by the top of crypto, I had sold all my physical things I could do to put more fucking money into crypto.
Well, here's the thing. Like, what made me skeptical was looking at the yearly chart, and I was like, bro, there's never been a dip, and we're topping right now. This is not looking good.
Show me that chart now. I'm the most bearish person on crypto. I've been calling for sub 10K since it was at 15K. Now, is that a bad call? Sure. I missed 15K to 120. But I still have this epiphany in my head that it will go lower than 15K. Bitcoin has never experienced a recession, and we might be on the verge of an actual recession, which it hasn't ever seen because it was created in 2008 after the last recession.
So do you think with your trading knowledge now, if you looked on the yearly and you were in that hole, do you think you would have sold that?
I wouldn't have made it. I wouldn't have made it. All those months of the distribution when Bitcoin hit like 60 and then went a little like 58 and then 62 and then 55, that distribution over those months where the altcoins performed, I would have been out way earlier, way early. I paper hand shit now. I'm out. I take the minimum payout on prop firms all the time. I'm fine taking the minimum payout. My game is get more accounts, take the minimum payout,
so
rinse and repeat.
You wouldn't have diamond hands the fucking Bitcoin.
Hell no. I would have held that shit.
So do you think?
I don't know.
Do you think a mix of where you are now and where you were before, if you were to get the median of in between, do you think that would be like best case scenario?
Yeah, much better version of myself. I mean, the PTSD I have from losing actual trades and stuff has made me definitely miss big moves. Like, for example, the other day, I realized $1,000 gain on a prop firm, and it was literally the bottom on multiple days. And if I would have just held, I closed it in 2 minutes. If I would have held it for a few hours, I would have made $10,000, $7,000, somewhere in the ballpark where there was no retrace, there's no dips. I just caught the very fucking bottom, and within 2 minutes, I'm already at the minimum threshold to pull, which is 1%, and I was out. Right. And just look back at it, and it's just flying. And then, of course, that feeling of missing it makes you revenge trade. I ended up actually shorting on the way up with way less. I did have some risk management to it, in which I used way less risk, way less lot size, but it still continued to blast, and even that small lot size cooked me on one of my trades. However, I did make that back. I waited for a dip. Finally, when the shorts started to work after losing the shorts, it came down. I caught the retrace into buys, pretty much buying the top. So I bought magnitudes higher hours later, and it still continued up. So that ended up fixing the drawdown from the account that lost on the shorts that I revenge traded from thinking, wow, this thing just went up. And this is a $100 move on gold. From 5,000, it went just below 5,000, went to 4,995 or so. I got it like 4,997. And it went to 51.30 in that same day. $130 move with a half a lot. What is that? 8 grand? Fucking big ass move. Anyway, like, yeah.
So do you think, so if you were to look back in time throughout everything that's ever happened, have you ever thought about quitting trading?
I mean, I think about it all the time, but then I have to remember that, like, wow, this is like, I'm so blessed to have this skill. I'm so blessed to have the knowledge that I have, and I work very, very hard for this. And I look back on, like, if I could have, like, back in the day, I can't believe I had the dedication to sit through years of not touching a dime on profits and just working and doing whatever to, while keeping this in the back of my mind, like, I'm going to be good at this. I'm going to be, every single person I would tell, I'm going to be good at trading. No one will ever believe you that you will be good at trading. No one. No one is, everyone's going to be like, either they're going to be in the camp of, sure, they might be like a degen that just thinks they're going to instantly be profitable, which we know some of them, or they're going to be someone that tells you you'll never be profitable. And it's neither. It's very hard to become profitable, but it's simple if you don't think of it too literally. You can't tie your emotions to it. You can't just, there's a lot, even today, like I just told you, I just revenge traded current day, but I managed to recover. That's all part of the game. You can't be in a short, then be like, oh, I'm still shorting. No, I switched back to buys, even though we're magnitudes higher on a retrace. That's how you manage your risk.
So that stems to the question of, did anyone around you ever support you trading, or did people think you were crazy?
I would say my biggest supporter happens to be you, because you believed in trading before me, and I was your doubter. And then the cards kind of flipped. I mean, damn. Now I'm trying to get you back more heavily involved in it, and shit.
For sure.
But no, most people no one really believed in it. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, it's hard too. I don't blame them though. I mean, what people do you know in your circle that are consistently profitable trader, let alone profitable trader? How about profitable prop firm trader? You know the statistics on that, right? It's like
I only know like 2.
I only know 2 guys, you and Mateo. That's it. I don't know anyone else that does forex prop firms that can make a living off, and I do not know anyone.
Yeah. So what were the biggest mistakes that you made early on with trading?
Probably the biggest mistakes was not believing in myself early enough. Once I had developed the learning curve past that, the $30,000 loss, that's a big mistake. Obviously, I should have started out, which I actually did. There is a little side story to this. I'm sorry. I started out leverage trading with only like $100, and I was extremely profitable with it. I've turned into like 400, 500 bucks, and I was sick of watching my long-term positions bleed while I was shorting and longing perfectly. I felt like I was God with it. So that's how I ended up getting that huge amount of liquidity on the table that I lost. It wasn't like, oh, one day I'm just going to throw all this money in and just go balls to the wall. I practiced with $100, and I flipped it big enough where I'm like, oh, if I just put 10,000, I could turn it to 50 real quick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which would have worked. I would have just realized all I had to do, that first trade I entered worked. It was instant gratification, $10,000. I just doubled the account in literally an hour, and I still diamond handed it. Waited all night until I woke up the next day, and my whole fucking 10,000 I put in was liquidated. And then I put another 10,000, another. I doubled down. I had added 10,000 3 times to this account, and then I literally had run out of money to even risk. But I would say a bigger mistake than that is not getting back into it early enough. Like, 3 years is way too long to cry about losing 30 grand. Like, I missed out on hundreds of thousands of dollars in easy payouts before they nerfed the shit out of prop firms. This was back when there was 15 prop firms you could get max funded on. Now we got 3 reliable ones that don't have crazy consistency rules.
No.
So I mean, if I would have gotten on this shit a year and a half earlier, I probably would have made $500,000 in that time. Now you can get a living out of trading prop firms, and you can get a decent living out of it, but nothing like it was 4 years ago or so.
And what are those 3 prop firms that you recommend for people to hop onto?
Well, I would say 4 actually, but there's a couple more. I'm not banned. I'm kind of like, what would you call it? What's it called? Shadow banned. Yeah. I'm shadow banned from a bunch of different firms, so there's that. But the biggest payouts I've had is on Alpha Capital, but I'm also kind of shadow banned, in which they gave me an ultimatum. They said either you have to do on-demand payouts, which involves consistency rules, and we'll let you buy accounts, or you can keep your current max funding, and you can never buy accounts again, and we'll unrestrict it, which I chose the unrestricted. That sounds crazy. Why would I never buy accounts? I've been able to hold this funding for years. This year I kind of did fumble. I lost 100K with them, but I still have 250K funded with them, and I haven't bought a challenge with them in 2 years. So eventually I'll lose that, but the way that I trade, I use a negative risk to reward, and I have a very high win rate. So for me to lose this funding, it's going to be a while, or just a bad string of trades. Most times I'm just out for 1%, rinse and repeat, out for 1%, out for 1%, risk 2%. Can't even risk 2%. On Funding Pips, you can't. But for the 3 best prop firms I would recommend right now, Alpha Capital, Funding Pips, and we'll throw it up in the air for, we'll say Funded Next. I personally have not gotten a payout from Funded Next, but it's head and head with Funding Pips. I would say Funded Next is as good as Funding Pips. I just haven't gotten a payout with them. I've taken multiple challenges. I got to phase 2. I almost I got these good challenges that were discounted heavily and all these stipulations. I somehow fumbled it. I have taken a challenge here and there with them. I'm going to get back into it soon. but I'm max funded on only two prop firms right now, Funding Pips and Alpha Capital, and not even Alpha because I'm down 100K from them and I can't buy it back. But 500K funded, it'll give you an income. That'll give you enough income to live off of and do nothing else.
Oh yeah. So how many prop firm challenges did you fail before passing one?
Funding Pips actually was one of the ones that I really degened early on and didn't care too much about because I was doing My Funded FX, Alpha Capital, Blue Guardian, and FXify. FXify instantly banned me. I got funded with them, got one payout, and I go to buy another challenge and they restricted me right away. They literally didn't want nothing to do with me when they see my strategy. They went nothing to do with me. They gave me the live account, got a payout. I screwed up because of the daily drawdown reset. The same day I got the payout, that payout actually counted as part of my drawdown, and I'd risked too much, and it blew the account, so I only got one payout with them. And I'm just trying to buy a new account. Nope, they got rid of me right away. My Funded FX, they did not shadow ban me, and I made about 20,000, 18,000 from them. They were my very first bread and butter, but they changed their rules, and there's just better opportunities at times, so I kind of let them go. Blue Guardian I did really well with. I only bought 2 challenges with them and made like 15K in payouts. Also, same thing. I'm not shadow banned from them. They just have heavy stipulations now, or I don't even know if they're that bad, but they're more so restrictive than the ones I'm using now. Overall, I think I've probably taken 40 prop firm challenges in my life over 2 years, and I mean, probably 40% of them were passed. I really didn't fail too many, honestly. It was like I passed the first one that I ever bought. The first My Funded FX challenge I bought, I passed right away. I was just waiting for that. I mean, I had already passed a bunch of prop firm demo accounts that are just a 100K demo. Then I ran up to 108, then got a new demo and ran to 105. I did that 10, 15 times before I even invested 500 in a challenge. So, Funding Pips was the one that I lost the most challenges on. I lost probably a total like 15 challenges. I've probably taken a total of like 25. And 15 of them failed, and then the other 10, I have 3 now. And let's say I had 6 other live accounts that I had over the years that eventually got blown and then repurchased. Alpha I had really high win rate on. I only bought about 9 challenges with them, and I held max funding for 2 years. My Funded FX, it was only a few, and Blue Guardian was literally only 2 challenges I took with them and withdrew 15 grand. FXify 1 challenge. Now, I mean, there's some I've taken now, such as like I said, Funded Next. I've taken 3 challenges with them, failed all of them. I tried out what's the other one? What's that one that Ola Prime? Me and Chase tried that.
Yeah.
I took 2 challenges with them. I got to phase 2 both times, and somehow I always fumble phase 2. It's just the psychological point where you're just like, oh, I only need 5%. I just get that right now. Boom, and then you lose. Like, I've mostly always passed phase 1 and then fumble phase 2, just purely based on psychology, where I'm like, oh, I'm hype as shit. I'm almost there. I think that's my biggest failing is phase 2. I fail phase 2 more than I fail phase 1.
You think so?
Yeah.
I mean,
I always think I'm just clear skies ahead of phase 2, and I end up blowing it.
For me personally, it's been phase 1, but phase 2, it's like, all right, like now it's time to like lock the fuck in. Like I'm that close to getting funded, but
yeah,
phase 1 for me personally has just been hard because like 8%. It's like I don't know, the 8% goal has been hard.
Dude, a lot of them are 10 too. If you're going with FTMO or something, you're going for 10. And Alpha now is 10, but I have the legacy accounts that they were only 8% target.
So what was the moment where things finally clicked for you?
I think the final piece to my puzzle was the fractal structure change of character. Now, it depends on who you learn it from. They might teach you slightly different. They might actually teach you a break of structure and call it a change of character, but a true change of character, that fractal structure in the 1 minute time frame, it sealed the deal. When I started, I don't use it anymore. I kind of just blindly do shit because I just back to the intuition type shit with the confluences on the side, the change of character in the back of my mind. But the change of character structure, when I finally looked for that within a liquidity sweep, in the right timing, 3 things I'll give you: timing, price action, liquidity.
Timing, price action, and liquidity.
Timing. You don't want to take a trade at a random time when there's not going to be a market maker move, where there's manipulation that retail has already bought into or sold into. No, you don't want to just take a random fucking thing. You need the right timing, which you'll realize over time there's certain kill zones that market maker will likely reverse from. Very important. Timing, very important. Price action. That's when it comes to change of character or the structure you're in or the higher time frame. Does it look like it's going to go up? But if you look at the hourly, we're nowhere near fucking retraced enough into liquidity on the hourly.
Right.
Timing, price action, liquidity. Liquidity. Obviously, that's straightforward. I mean, are you in some liquidity that is reasonable to take this trade? Or are you just floating in the middle of the fucking range? Are you floating in the middle of the range? That still could be liquidity. You never know. Is that little 1 minute candle's wick that has drawn down from and then came back up to and just taken that liquidity? That's still liquidity. But have you used your outside bias on the hourly? Is that liquidity enough? Now, my favorite thing, if I could share my screen with you, my favorite thing to use for liquidity is this. And this is basically just this indicator right here, Lux Algo session sweeps. And I edit it, and you guys could screenshot these settings real quick. I actually use overlap session. This is gold right here. This right here is worth $5,000. I should charge you $5,000 for these settings. These settings right here are custom overlapped Asia, London, New York. However, they're slightly edited. So this Asia session, they're slightly overlapped and slightly end or start early. But these settings right here, as you can see, they create a box. So like, let's say box, I call them 1, 2, and 3 because they're not technically Asia. They're not technically London. That's not technically.
Could you go back to the
What?
settings? Could you go back to the settings so they can screenshot all the settings?
Yeah.
I use the strategy.
Yes.
before
Let
you
me
hop
go
into
down.
how it works.
You just turn pretty much everything off, and you just use the first three boxes, label them 1, 2, and 3, and then run your set. This. Now I can't tell you what time. Like I can tell you what time in my time zone this equates to, but you have to use box 1, 2, and 3 because technically these ones were like London, Asia, and stuff. So they're actually in different time zones. Like you can see this one says 9 to 16, and so does this one. But these are actually in different time zones. How are they designed this indicator? I don't know. This is all I know. This is the settings that I use because it lines up with the timing that I ask it for. So basically, I have my New York session starting at 9. I believe that is
This
9.
all
Let me
equated to
see.
Eastern Standard Time, correct?
Yeah. So when the box ends, when it turns to these dashed lines, that's when you're in go. So like, let's say I want to trade. I wait. Oh my god, my fucking shit is lagging. So I see box 1 form. What happens? Box 1, as soon as it stops becoming box 1 and it turns to dashes, you can see it blast up and comes back into the range. Now, a lot of times you want to do continuation. Actually, this works a lot better to buy here and continue. But it didn't work in this case. I learned this strategy in reversals, but actually, it most of the time actually continues. But you can see here, you would have gotten shorts here, and you would have gone for this. And you can see that is realized. Now, let's say you're looking at box 2. This is a continuation. It broke the low, bounced back up, and you took back into the box. Boom, down. That's a continuation play you could have taken on this liquidity. What about box 3 in this case? Box 1, what happened? This is a continuation. It's huge continuation. Asia built a range. We'll call it Asia. It's not really Asia. It's an overlap. But it made a low, bounced off the low. This looks like a perfect Fibonacci 50%, let's be honest, of this box. Broke the low. You know it's going lower. Retest the box. Whack. Whack down. Fuck down. Oh, we have box 3 again. And currently, you zoom in way in. What have we done? What have we done? We have stuck our neck in box 3's fucking liquidity, and we're retracing it. To me, is more for continuation than this, but probably more of an aggressive thing. Probably into this gap right here, which actually looks like roughly like a 618 3. If we can fill this gap here, I would expect this to continue to go for probably box 1 or box 2's low. Or no, that's box 2's high because the low of box 2 is all the way the fuck down here. Jesus. So this move down, I actually by end of week actually could be the time. You gotta just find a position. As long as you're either longing or shorting continuation or reversal and not just trading in this range. Like let's say you were in the middle of these boxes. What the fuck are you doing? Like it opens, it comes down, it builds a range, and then breaks the range. Thing happens. Does it take the high or low? It takes the high, or does it take the low? And are you going for a continuation or reversal? That is the bread and butter of my strategy. And this indicator alone set up like this is enough to have no other confluences, pretty much. But you can go in with more confluence. I would recommend it. But as a basic strategy, this is if you only wanted to look at one thing, this is the one thing I would look at. Can I hop off this now?
Okay.
Go back to my Discord.
That's fucking golden nuggets for the viewers. Golden nuggets, bro.
Yeah. There we go. Oh god damn it! Now there's now you like my rug pull screen. Yeah, but that is that's my main go-to. And to be honest with you guys, I hardly even pop on TradingView and look at that. Most of the time, I can just remember in my back of my head where these liquidity zones are without having that box. But that will help. I mean, I regret sometimes not looking at that because then I'll be like, oh shit, why didn't I look at that? But you know, you're gonna eventually, when you become long-term at this, you're gonna use less and less indicators. And Chase actually taught me that early on. I used to have a million different trend lines, a million different indicators, and he had no idea what he was looking at. King told me, he goes, you ever seen the beauty of a naked chart? I was like, no, why the fuck would I do that? Now, naked charts all day. The most you'll catch me looking at is that TradingView indicator. Most of the time, trading right off MT5. Looking at MT5 chart raw. Not even an RSI, nothing.
Straight price action, support resistance, fucking. I mean, if you know how to read a Fibonacci level of a 786, you know what I mean?
Yeah, even Fibonacci. That was a really key point. I forgot to mention that I used to use the OTE, OTE entries with the negative fibs and stuff. That was a key part of the bread and butter along with the change of character. But all that stuff is kind of washed out to me. I just pretty much read it without all that. I see all of it like if it was already on the chart, but it's not. Like I already see it. I see the Fibonacci level, even though it's not there. I see the liquidity box that's not there. Like it's like
you just take
it'll come.
Basically, a Fibonacci 76 level is like, all right, you take a fucking giant range like this, and you take a sixth of that level, which is this. That's a 76.
Yeah. And 0.5 is the most easy to visualize. You're just halfway.
Yeah. And if you
I could share
resistances, that's basically what a Fibonacci is. It's like, all right, 76 level drawn up on a Fibonacci. It's like, all right, 76. You got a range here. Take a sixth of that level. Boom, here. You could use that as resistance, or you could use that as support, depending on where you're looking for a buy entry or a sell entry. Depends on how you're brought up.
As long as you got a few solid confluences and you made sure there's no high impact news, because high impact news is going to throw your bias out the window. Like, it doesn't matter how many confluences lined up. Now, the one thing I can say about playing high impact news is you kind of want to play the opposite. Like if you see right before high impact news, the price starts to aggressively dip. Now you can be pretty goddamn sure that it's going to flip. Usually they give the opposite bias right before the news release, and then but that's still so risky because even if it starts to dip, When the high impact news is still going to wick this fucking much below, your stop better be goddamn big because it's still going to go much lower when you can't even execute a trade because you're in the trade prior. You can't execute on a prop firm during news. So you have to be in and predict it. That's actually a bad thing to do. I would most definitely recommend trading the result of high impact news and not trying to predict it. However, if you're going to try and predict it, try to go for the opposite of what it's doing. If it's dumping aggressively, fucking send buys. If it's pumping aggressively, send sells. If you want to gamble, if you're fucking taking a challenge, you're like, I'm going to full port this challenge prior to news. It's, I don't know, 15 minutes before news and it's lines up with all your other confluences. Fuck it, it's a challenge.
And what app do you use for news?
What's the worst that's going to happen? You blow the daily drawdown, you lose extra. You want to run on not my funded FX. See, remember what my funded FX was called because I called it my FX book, and I'm like, that's not what it's called. It's called my funded FX because I haven't used them in years. But I remember the origin of the beginning of this shit. You need to cross-reference both. If you're doing pips, they only look at Forex Factory, but Alpha and most of the other ones they'll look at both for high impact.
Okay. And did you have a mentor, or did you figure it out on your own?
The closest thing to have a mentor is the guy sitting right in front of me in this Discord call. However, I actually perfected, I would say, our strategy because during the time when I gave my life to this, you didn't give it as much effort as you should have. However, you had the prior knowledge. I'll call you the mentor.
I had no choice to give my life to this because right before we even figured out the strategy to cheat prop firms out, spoiler alert to the rest of the video, for cheating prop firms.
It's all fair game. It's fair game. You're allowed to do this. People just don't realize.
Yeah.
Rules wise, you're not allowed to do.
I already signed my life away before Kai. I remember when I was in boot camp and I had a fucking payphone, and I only called up 2 people on my payphone, my mom and Kai, and that's it.
And I said, hey, bro, guess what? It fucking worked, man. It worked. He's like, no way, it worked. It worked. Get the fuck out of boot camp. Get out of boot camp. And yeah, he's still in the military now, but yeah, I mean, as soon as he had the internet connection, he was right on it. He passed his first prop firm challenge right away, made profits. Shit, that shit was fucking 3 times as much you make from the military from just prop firm payouts.
It's a fucking little teaser later on for the video. Kai discovered a fucking cheat code for prop firms that completely obliterates prop firms. Not really, because they still make money off of it, but we're guaranteed.
Yeah, you're still gonna.
It's a win-win scenario. Prop firms are guaranteed money from us, but we're guaranteed money from prop firms. Win-win. We never lose money.
We're not guaranteed money from prop firms. We're guaranteed.
Exactly.
They're sick that I've kept max funding for years and fucking rinsed them for 65 grand or 50 grand or 15 grand. Like that really adds up when you're running something that runs on an insurance policy that's not actually real trading. When they have hundreds of people giving them 500 to fail the challenge, but then you got one guy that pulls out 60 grand. That cuts into their profits a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So what does your daily routine look like during this learning process?
If I was you, if I had to start fresh and you had me and Chase as in your back pocket to help you a little bit, I would open up a fake demo account and I would throw this indicator on your trading view and I would just start looking at higher time frames along the line. I would look at higher time frames and I would look at those boxes, and if those 2 confluences align, try it out. Try full porting a continuation long. Try full porting continuation short. Try full porting a fucking reversal on either direction. Try it. See what happens. You got nothing to risk. You got to risk less than the daily draw. It depends on the prop firm you're using. They're not going to really like it if you go really close to the daily drawdown and then pass. They don't really like that. They could consider it gambling, so you kind of got to obscure it a little bit. You got to risk less than the daily drawdown, obviously.
Spend the $500 for the daily drawdown. If you fail, come to Kai. Link in bio. I mean, what can I say? I mean, if you fucking hate losing $500 every time you fail a prop firm, come to Kai. I'll link his.
We've developed. That's the personal part that I personally developed is this secret that we're going to have to like kind of shed light on, but it's kind of something that's so valuable that we really can't, and probably will wreck our reputations with these places. So we really can't give out every detail of this, but if you read between the lines, you'll kind of figure it out.
Yeah, and the reason why is because we're not trying to get this whole strategy shut down amongst all prop firms. This is like it's very high key gatekeeping information. Like this is top of the line, echelon, fucking creme de la creme. If you don't want to lose money from prop firms anymore, this is what you do, type of thing. And prop firms don't catch on to it, and they won't unless there's hundreds and hundreds of people that are doing it. They will fucking catch on.
They still wouldn't. It's not in their network. They don't have the ability to just look into your life and know that you're doing something. Like this is all we're gonna say. This is the only part we're gonna say. Don't break any of the rules. You have to follow the rules. Everything we do follows all the rules.
The proof is in the pudding. Like, go talk to Kai. Hit him up for fucking, you know what I mean? If you want some mentorship, you have the money to fucking, don't come in here with some chump change. I don't want to fucking, listen.
Yeah.
If you're in my circle.
If you're make a living out of this,
Kai,
you're going to need
hold
multiple.
Kai, hold on. The point of this video isn't to sell a course. The point of this video is to share insight on a trader, which is one of my best friends, Kai, that is able to make a fucking living off of prop firms. If you want to come into this video and gain knowledge, you're getting plenty of free knowledge in this video. I already gave fucking his whole setup routine on TradingView for free, completely for free. But if you want the shit that is actually top tier knowledge, I don't want any of you motherfuckers to hit up my buddy Kai and be like, yo, will you take $50 for your fucking strategy? Bro, don't come at Kai. Do not come at Kai with the fucking $50 fucking.
I don't know.
This isn't Facebook Marketplace, bro. This is not Facebook
I
Marketplace.
I don't know if we really need to make. I don't know how we will structure that, but just look out for it because
how you structure it. Come at least with $5,000 if you want to fucking talk business. Bring $5,000.
oh, you're gonna need $5,000. Even with $5,000, you're gonna struggle to make a career out of this.
At least
You need to pockets even. If you got $2,000, you could scrape by and use it as a side hustle, but you really need like 5 to do a small salary. But if you got 15,000, you can make a real career.
You as a person should be making at least $10,000 a month to be even considering working with me and Kai. Specifically Kai, because he came up with the strategy. I'm just fucking riding the strategy. Specifically Kai. At least make $10,000 a month.
Give it to you, Chase. You can't discount yourself, man. You're the one who got me into this in the first place.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You came up with the strategy. That's all you. So I'm not taking any credibility for the strategy. I'm just happy that I can use the strategy. So hit up Kai for information. I will link his Instagram into the description below. You will click on the link and shoot him a DM. If you're making at least $10,000 a month or more, hit up Kai if you want to make at least $5,000 a month or more. Within the first 3 months, guaranteed. He will set you up with a routine, I guarantee you. And that's my guarantee. I will never bring somebody onto the show that cannot set you up with guaranteed results. Never in my life will I ever. So what markets do you usually trade most?
My personal favorite is XAUUSD. However, a lot of prop firms have regulated the leverage of that, and there's a lot of slippage that can go on. So I would not recommend that in the current time. I would recommend Euro, cleanest. Washed out market, though. A lot of times you're going to wait forever for a trade to hit, or you're going to get instant gratification. Euro USD, simple, cleanest market. I taught our third friend to do this with solely Euro. He only uses Euro USD. Actually, the strategy I showed you guys earlier with the boxes, that is actually made for Euro and not gold. That is actually designed for Euro, but it also works almost as good in gold. The reason I like gold is because it gives you either a stop out or instant gratification a lot quicker than Euro will. Euro, you're going to be sitting there for maybe 6 hours waiting for a 1% gain. When gold, you could get a 1% gain in 2 minutes.
You heard it.
What would you recommend? You go with Euro.
Hold on.
Chase actually and won't touch gold because gold is whack right now. You gotta have your balls are on the table, and not even just losing a trade. You could blow your daily drawdown. You could fucking blow your maximum loss on the live account just from slippage on gold.
What is it? All right, it's March 4th, 2026. I promise you, I'm not a time traveler. So March 4th, 2026. Gold is fucking parabolic. The volume on gold is insane. If you're worried about fees and you're worried about fucking slippage, I would not trade gold right now. I would not. It's not good to trade right now. I mean, you can still trade it if you really want to. If you want to go balls to the wall, you can still trade US 30. If you're a US 30, if you're a US 30 trader and you want to come to gold, I mean, like, it won't be much different. It's going to be around the same thing.
Yeah, US 30 is sketchy with that lot size. I mean, you have to use a micro lot pretty much, but yeah, gold can wash you quick or make you money quick. Not a beginner asset. You can't trade gold. You can trade gold, but your balls are on the table. Like, your balls are ready to be chopped off, or you might get the baddest bitch in the bar. That's pretty much what happens with gold. You're either going to get neutered or get the baddest bitch in the bar.
I mean, you're not going to get neutered with your strategy, though. Hit up Kai. What time frame do you usually trade?
So I would, for a general look at the market, I would go on the hourly. Then you kind of develop a bias based on the hourly. Now I jump down to the 5 minute. And the 5 minute is where you will use the boxes strategy. Anything beyond the 5 minute, the boxes disappear because that's just how the indicator is designed. So the 5 minutes where I do 99% of my analysis, and then 1 minute, obviously, execution. Even further than that, you're going to be looking at the tick chart on your brokerage on the 1 second. You're going to be looking at the tick chart for your physical, boom, click the button. But you're going to go from the hourly down to the 5. 5 is where you dial the fuck in. You got your trade. The 5 is clean enough where you can just punch into the trade without even looking at the 1. But we're going to go down to the 1, look at the 1, and then we're going to hop into where you actually execute. You'll see that little tick chart, 1 second. Look at that. Look for a good structure inside your bias, inside your bias, inside your bias. Inside the hourly bias, inside the 5 minute bias, inside the 1 minute bias, inside the second time frame so you get the best entry inside the 1 minute candle.
So hourly, 30 minute, 15 minute, 5 minute, and then 1 minute for fucking microstructure.
Most of the time I skip the 30. I can hit the 15. Most of the time I actually go from the hour to the 5. To the 1 to the second time
hour
frame.
To the 5. You don't look at the 30. Why don't you look at the 30?
The 30 minute can be useful. It depends on The only time I really look at a 30-minute candle is for like a close, like if it's like about to be 1:30 p.m. and there's some kind of like speech news or some shit. I'm like, okay, where's the 30-minute candle structure looking like? But most of the time, the hourly is the farthest I want to go out. The 4 hour, too much. Hourly 5, 1 second. If you got TradingView Premium, you could put on a 30-second time frame, then I would skip the minute. I would go from hourly 5, 30-second. I would skip a 1 minute.
Really?
Yeah. 30-second candles are actually one of the nicest thing ever, but I mean, you have to have TradingView Premium or something to have that.
Don't you think the 30-second candle is too small for an hourly type of setup?
Because you already have your bias developed. You're just looking for a good entry inside your bias so that you don't have as much risk of pips against you. So like if your bias is buys and on the 5 minute it already has moved up 15 pips, well, why are you gonna we're gonna at least we might not get a retrace, but the 30-second is gonna show us the real true intention. Like if we're on the hourly, we'll go down to the 5, but we're up 15 pips from the low that we wanted to buy at. If we go down to the 30-second time frame, we're gonna be able to see micro wicks and shit that are going to tell us when the retrace is over and the continuation begins to continue with our bias. Like that, we need that really low time frame because if your bias is right, there ain't no time to wait. You should probably buy right there. But if you're going to try and catch the slightest amount of retrace, you need a very, very small time, even like a 1 second. Like, what if it's like the 5 minute and the 5 minute candle opens and that's 15 pips is all captured inside a 5 minute? We're only going to get maybe 3 pips retrace, but that counts. If we bought there, then we have 3 pips of drawdown. That's 3 pips of profit we don't get. So a low time frame like a 30-second would be nice for, like, you already have your bias, but you need a very specific entry to prevent a lot of risk or less risk. That extra 3 pips of risk could mean your stop loss.
When do you decide not to trade?
Most times I decide not to trade. High impact news coming soon. An inability in myself to discern a direction. Middle of a range. Bad timing, not a key timing, like random ass time that doesn't look good. Those are the times I would avoid.
And how much do you risk per trade?
Depends on what you're doing. If you're risking, I lean towards very aggressive risk that just enough that you're not going to blow the daily drawdown in the worst case of slippage. My look at that in the challenge is it's a challenge. You're wasting your time on fake money. So I use as much risk as won't get me banned or flagged or whatever. As much as you can. It's a challenge. On a live account, I risk roughly 1% on average.
Maybe 1% less than the maximum drawdown.
1% less. 1% less is you're giving it a little bit of room to fuck you. I would risk maybe like 3.6%. And it depends on the prop firm. You don't know if they allow that. The ones I work with, they do allow that. They don't really like that you do that, but most of the time I'm not getting hit out for that 3%. I'm most of the time winning, so they don't see a loss like that.
And what's your max drawdown rule before you stop trading?
Well, most of the time I'm never entering an account back to back. So like if I lose a 1%, that account's done. Like that account done for the day. Maybe not. Maybe the most I'll ever put in is 3% on a live account consecutively, like a 1% loss, maybe wait an hour, another 1% loss. That never happens to me. I haven't experienced that in 6 months. Most of the time what end up happening is I'll take a 1% loss and I'll move to a fresh account and place a trade because then I don't have to clear that loss. I'll wait for another setup to clear that loss. That loss is in the past, waiting for a new day to fix that. Instead, I'm going to hop in a fresh account and go for it. Because then all I have to do, like, picture this. Let's say you lost a 1% loss and then you just bought in right away or maybe like 5 minutes later and you got slightly lower than where you got stopped on a buy. Now, all that has to do is go almost to your break even. It's almost where that other trade would have been at break even. But say if you put that same account in and it goes back to break even, you're just at break even. You're not going to be inclined to pull out at break even. But if you put a freshie in there and it goes back to where you would have been at break even, now you just got out for 1% take home. I wait to get my counts out of drawdown. I wait for a very large move where I use multiple confluences and just have plenty of room to run. Most of the time, my trades I go for are very small distance or relatively small distance. So I won't really put my aggressive account, like my normal trade strategy is pretty aggressive and quick. So I don't really want to put drawdown accounts in that same kind of entry. But for a drawdown account, a live account that's in drawdown, I almost look at it as the same as a challenge where I'm looking for a much larger move over a larger time frame.
How do you manage your losing streaks?
I would say probably around 3 months ago, I got into a very severe losing streak in which I lost 7 trades in a row that were a mix of challenges and live accounts. And on the 8th trade, it was a Hail Mary. Like I could have held that shit and like I pretty much this is gonna sound like a degen move, but I'm gonna stick with it because it's what I do. There is no stop out point for me. I will keep losing until I run out of accounts. I'm gonna stay confident to my bias. Obviously, I could switch my bias. Like if it's not working, I might switch to long. Like I just described way earlier in the video. I'm caught a perfect long, closed out too early, tried to revenge trade short, didn't work, and then waited for a retrace to buy. But since it's a prop firm, I mean, there are some times where it just really depends on the day, I guess. Like if I'm confident in my setup, I'm gonna keep loading up into that setup. I'm not gonna fucking let a trade wash me out of my setup. But if it's something that I wasn't confident in the first place, I just kind of YOLO'd it. Then I'm just going to set the rest of the day out. I might take a 1% loss and just be like, fuck it, I'm just gonna go live my life. Like, go get a fucking burrito or some shit. Don't worry about it. Fix it another day. But if it's something where you fucking believe in that trade, don't fucking stop believing in that trade. I mean, that could be a bad advice to someone that, to me, that advice is very, very strong, and it has held true. I will not. So that's what I do. I personally will continue to enter my bias, and it can get pretty unreasonable. Like 3 months ago, I lost 7 trades in a row, but on that 8th trade, I could have taken a 20 grand payout or something crazy like that.
So do you think it's worth it to enter a trade without high conviction?
No, unless you're no. Why? Like, that's like you're putting your ass on the line, and you're not. It's no. You have to have high conviction before you even think about entering a trade.
And what mistakes do you think people make in the prop firm industry that are pretty common?
I would say revenge trading. I still gets to me all the time. I mean, I just described it. I fucking bought, I got out too early, and then I tried to short. That revenge trading, very, very bad. Another thing I think people that, hey, this is going to sound like a controversial mistake. They risk too little on the evaluation. You got to remember this is an evaluation. When I first started this out, I risked 0.25%. I was risking $250 on 100K to try and hit a 1% gain. And then the first challenge I ever took, I didn't risk aggressively, and that fucked me. It took me months to pass it. I finally got to the live account. I fumbled the live account. This was a 10K though. This is before I even considered me getting funded, because I don't count this. This is nothing. First time I ever got funded, I would consider it being 100K. But this baby account that I babied and did the low risk, like pretend it's my real account type shit, don't do that. I think that's honestly the biggest mistake, is not full porting, because the one thing you don't have more in life is time. And these challenges mean nothing to you besides the challenge fee. Like it's not, you got to get it over with. Taking too small trades is going to end up fucking you in the long run, because you're going to eventually take a bad trade. I mean, I don't know. I just want to pass or fail, and that's it. The challenge to me is a matter of getting past the challenge to get to the real account. Then you can play with it. Maybe if you want to play a 0.25 half% on live account, I can see that. The most prop firms, they don't want you to risk more than 1.5%. So that's reasonable to take a bias like that on a live, because it's your real money. I mean, you make profit, you take it home. So, but on the challenges, the worst thing I think is trying to treat it like it's a real account on the challenge. Challenge, it's fake account. You got to pass it or fail it.
No. So what's your biggest payout you ever received?
This is actually very small, and that's going to come because the fact that I am very inclined to close on 1.5%, 1%, 2%. Lately, I won't go to even 2%. It's been probably a few months since I've cleared a 2% gain, but the biggest gain I ever cleared on a live account was 4%, 4,000, and it was a move on gold where it hit my 1%, it hit my 2%, and it just kept going, man. And I stayed in it, and that target that I placed for that 4% gain hit, and it was perfect. And it was once.
So do you think maybe staying in trades that are bullish towards your trade direction could be beneficial towards?
Yes. If I had a mentor, if I had someone to help me, what I would need is someone looking over my shoulder like, hey, man, don't close that shit out, man. That's a perfect trade. You worked very hard to get that entry. You've been looking at this chart for a week, and you've been waiting for this price. Why are you closing out for 1% when you know this is going to go 5%? I mean, all the time I'll have trades that will go 20% gain, but I close out for 1%. Most common thing, I mean, that's fine with me though. I need it to have that extra room. If it didn't have that extra room, then how would I get out? Like, it needs that extra room. Like, I target twice is what I'm going for. Like, if my target is here, I'm going to probably close for half of my target. Right, so when I open a trade, I'm going to go 2% and be happy taking 1%. Or, yeah, that's pretty much what I do. I go for 2%. If I can keep the balls to stay in for the 2%, I'll take it. This one time, this was early, in my early days, I would minimum take 2%, and I would try to go for a bigger. I would put an open take and then close for a minimum. Like, I used to hold them to 2% and never take less than 2%, which actually was better because I was making significantly more income month to month based on how much capital I had. But back then I only had 200K funded, 300K funded. Now, if you got a fucking 700K funded and you take 1%, it's better than taking 2% on 200K.
So what's your biggest fear with taking a trade that is just above your threshold for take profits?
Well, I look at it like this. Once you have cleared the minimum threshold that they will allow you to withdraw, then that's basically like you open your bank account to that. Like, let's say you're up $1,000 and you don't close and it reverses. That $1,000 could have been in your bank account, safe, out of the mix of all the market's noise. That shit could be using to take your girl on a date. At the end of the day, the goal is to make real money to live your life. And chasing a large trade could cost you getting any money at all. And I'd rather have something than nothing. However, there's the caveat too. Yes, a lot of times, if not 80% of the time, I could have held the trade longer. Most of the time, I'm not getting out at 1% and it reverses. I'm like, oh my God, thank God I got out. Oh my God, no, it goes way, way, way higher. But I'm fine with that.
But since we're hedging,
you're still risking the money out of your bank account. Even if you have protected your risk of your investment into this, even that gain is still real money that could have been in your bank account that you're potentially giving back once you've hit the threshold of withdrawal.
That's true. That's true. I don't know. Part of me wants to be a fucking. I'm not at that point yet, but part of me just wants to like.
I
If
would say probably if you have a bunch of accounts, like at my level, there should be an account that I'm willing to go for a 3% gain or nothing. That should be probably part of my strategy. And there's always room to
I'd say a 5% gain at least.
3% would be crazy. I haven't hit a 3% gain in a long fucking time.
I've never. I've hit a 2,000, like $1,800 payout. That's
Yeah, that's normal. I mean, that's what I used to tell you we were going to go for, always 2%. Now 1%'s fine. Just have more funding. So I think that's the
yeah.
name of the game. Honestly,
Yeah. Nowadays, it's like, all right, you have a fucking 1%. Fucking.
oh yeah, and especially back then we could risk a lot more. The firms have gotten tighter and tighter on the live account restrictions. So
Well, here's the
back then
thing.
we could risk the daily drawdown on the live. So what's the point of? Well, of course we could go for 4% because we can risk 4%. But if we can only risk 1%, we're for 4%. Well, you got the odds are stacked against you. You got to go for 4R. You got to look at the risk to reward. If you can go for a negative risk to reward, you have a solid strategy, you're like in a high 90% chance of winning.
So if you guys
That
aren't
sounds
tracking,
crazy.
if you guys aren't tracking and you're new to prop firms, we used to be able to go for like 2% fucking trades back in the day when we had like
Risk
4% risk to reward. You know, like we could risk 4% of our account because of
and
5%
still go for
success.
half a 0.5R and clear 2%.
Yeah, but nowadays we only have fucking 1% risk.
Most across the board, you're going to be limited to like slightly over 1%, pretty much. There's no prop firms that are really going to allow you to risk
So
a side of your daily.
I honestly think the new strat that we should adopt to this fucking there's always a strat. In my opinion, there's always a cheat code to anything that ever happens within any rules. I think the new strat to this would be just fucking being a good trader. First of all, be a good trader. Don't be a shitty ass trader. Second of all, you fucking scalp.
Facts.
You scalp every day. If you can find a trade Monday through Thursday, do not trade Fridays. If you can find a scalp Monday through Thursday, then find a fucking trade. You know what I mean? I mean that's just me. I haven't tested it yet, but I think it's beneficial with today's market environment. I've been playing it safe, but eventually I'm gonna test it, and I'm gonna find out. I'm gonna find out.
Honestly, we need more of a collective between me, you, and our other buddy. We need to all work together to improve what we have here. We have a really, really valuable thing here, and we need to take it a little bit more. I'll be honest, I don't take it seriously. I don't enough at all. Sometimes I forget I'm a trader. I'm just fucking feel like a DJ and like I'm living my life, and I'm like, oh shit, I gotta take a trade. But really, it should be the main focus of one of the main. It is definitely one of my main focuses, but there's always room to improve, and we can definitely improve our strategy in the future. And obviously, we all have slight variations of strategy. We all use the core functions of the strategy. The three of us, the third person's not here, but we all have our own slight variation. Obviously, we all have a different way we execute, a different, slightly different confluent, like all of it. No matter if we're all in the same room, we're all going to have a slightly different bias, and that's actually good. And our one friend doesn't really understand that because he always wants just an answer. What would you do here? How about what would you do here? Tell me what you would do here first, so I can hear your thoughts. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
'Cause that gives you more. You can see what other people are thinking that have the same they learn the same way as you, but they see something slightly different that can help you.
So how has your trading changed your life financially?
Just significantly more than I could make without. I didn't go to college or anything, so I mean it's up and down though. I mean some months you don't make very much. I mean it's just comfortable to me. I don't go for much. It's a comfortable salary, does the job, and the best part is you don't gotta talk to a boss. You don't gotta go to. I can sleep all day if I want. I could freaking leave the country, put micro lots on my account so they don't expire, come back in 15 days and pretend the market didn't exist for those 15 days. Can you do that at your job? No, you're gonna get fired.
Yeah.
So financially, better than some things. Not going to be a doctor salary. I mean, it's going to be a good salary. Most likely better than anything you could get without a degree. Not as high. I mean, it could be if you somehow make it work. You could make more than a doctor. Depends on what kind of firms you got. What you got? Futures firms too. Can you deal with the consistency rules? Personally, I don't care about making more money to deal with consistency rules. I don't want the headache of dealing with more firms. I'm fine with having 600K, 700K, a million funded. If I had a million funded, man, that's plenty. You don't really need. To me, I don't need to live. I live frugally. I don't need a crazy amount of money. The biggest benefit to me is it's whenever you want. You don't got to wake up. You don't got to deal with your boss yelling at you. You don't got to risk of fired. You don't have to risk that you're gonna get fired. You're not gonna get fired.
No. I think at the end of the day, this is where we're at. I think me, you, Mateo, we're in a box. I think we're in a box. And this is just like the box that we were in before we discovered a strategy. I think there's always a box with wherever we are in life. And
Yeah.
it's all about excelling through that box. And right now we're in a box where we're prone to prop firms and we can make more money. It's just all about scaling with where we're at right now to the next box I think is live accounts without rules and fucking drawdown rules and all that bullshit. And we take the skills that we have and we take that to another level. We have our own fucking $200,000 account where we can scale
Yeah.
it up.
With a personal account, you don't have restriction. You could use a severely negative. I mean, that's still a risk. You could use a negative risk to reward that's like a 4-to-1 negative. So you're risking 4,000 to go for 1. What happens when that $1,000 loss hits though? That's going to be painful. But did you make 10 before you lost the 4? And then you're still profitable.
That's what I think the box we're in right now. That's the box that I think we're in right now. We're in a box where we're like, okay, well, I can just hedge my loss and I won't lose anything because we're trading prop firms. Well, if we can guarantee, not guarantee, but if we can at least get a 70% win rate, at least 60% on a 2R win rate on a fucking live account with $200,000 in our bank account balance, that's pretty fucking solid. If we're going for like 2% trades, 3% trades here and there, you know what I mean? And we don't have to rely on a prop firm. And I think that's the next. I honestly, truly do believe that that's the next box. After we stack up enough allocation, obviously we have to make up enough money to where
that's right. You got to withdraw to have that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's definitely the next step. In my opinion. But scaling funded prop firms.
I personally do not really. I can see that. But I need a way more money. Like I don't want my whole bank account balance to be on the line losing 4%. I need
$2 million at least.
If I have a live account and a personal account I'm trading, it's got to be less than 10% of net worth in that account. And then of that 10%, maybe I risk 4% of 10%, which gives me less than 0.5% of my net worth risk, which is totally fine.
But in my own opinion, it's like you say less than 10% of a $200,000 net worth. That means that you need at least $2 million to be able to start your own $200,000.
That's good. I believe that. I totally believe that. I would need $2 million.
So my question is, so this is a very genuine, honest question that I have not written down for this YouTube video. Do you think that prop firms can scale you to $2 million within a good amount of time without you stressing about money and always like, okay, my daily life, I pay for this, I pay for that. You know what I mean? Like, how?
I mean, my total gain on prop firms lifetime is under 200 grand. So to say 2 million, I mean, I know people on YouTube and stuff that got in this before all the shit was nerfed, and they made millions a year. Like they made 100K a month. So over 2 years, they made 2 million.
Right.
And that used to be common because if let's say you just have 50, 100K accounts, you go for 2%, that's 100,000. But yeah, I would say if of your net worth, you can't risk more than 0.5% trading.
So if your paycheck
and have a stop loss and you really believe in it and you put a few percent in it, sure. But right, a trade that you're executing in a day, 0.5% is the max risk I would use of your life savings.
So you're saying let's equivalent life savings to a daily paycheck, not daily paychecks, but yeah, basically equivalent to daily paychecks. Let's put it to, let's say, a bi-weekly paycheck, which is what most of America is on right now, is bi-weekly, or maybe even weekly. Let's say the bi-weekly
paycheck. Are you saying, like, you're saying your net worth is what your paycheck is when you get it?
Yeah, my thought process is, how do we set traders up with their most common bi-weekly paycheck? Let's say it's around $1,200. $1,200, and you're saying that 50% of that you should not risk. So if you're risking 50% of your paycheck, you should not risk. You're saying your savings.
Well, I was basically 100%.
And that's if that's if they don't have any expenses. That's the thing, is like if they're not paying for rent and car payment and fucking insurance and all that shit.
Oh yeah, I was saying of your savings that doesn't go through bills and stuff. I'm not talking about your income. I'm saying like if you had $10,000 in your Roth IRA that you saved from your job,
right.
The most I would take out of that is $1,000, put it in a personal account, and risk $50 a trade.
Even if they had even if they had $1 million,
$50, 10%. No. All right, if they have $1 million, what do you say? Okay, so you're saying if you have $1 million now?
Well, let's just come up with a percentage, because the percentage is amongst all boards of
0.5%. If you're really low, I mean, 0.5% of $1,000 is. Oh no, yeah, that's correct. So if you had $10,000 and you put in 1,000 and you risk 5% of the 1,000, which is 50, you're technically risking 0.5%. If you have a $10,000 net worth, I don't see risking more than $50 on a single trade on a personal account. That's gonna sound crazy to some people. That's gonna sound crazy. That is what's gonna keep you safe.
So if you have $10,000 saved in the bank, do not fucking invest more than $50.
Per single trade, I would risk 0.5% on your personal net worth at most.
Well, y'all motherfuckers.
So if your net worth is 1,000, what are you risking?
If you're 1,000?
Yeah, then you're risking $5 a trade. That's reasonable though. Think about it. That's what I would do if I had $1,000 to my name. I would risk $5 a trade, because only 100 of that 1,000 would be in the trading account. First of all, 900 of it would be my savings. 100 would be in the trading account, and I would risk 5% of it. So my thing is, with a personal account, I would put 10% of your money you have, and risk 5% of the 10%, equaling 0.5%. And why you don't want to have all that money in there is because that's just going to be too much for you to suddenly degen and then actually risk a good amount. No, instead, if you have 1,000, only put 100 of it, 10% of what you have, put in a trading account, and then risk 5% with what's in the trading account, equaling 0.5% of what you have total.
And what is the one thing that beginners should stop doing immediately?
Not having good risk management. It depends if they're trading prop firm, they're trading personal. No, like risk management. They need to stop risking too much personal capital, or if it's a prop firm, the opposite. If it's a prop firm, stop risking too little, and if it's a live account, stop risking too much. And I don't know their metrics. Maybe they're not. But if that's what I say, don't risk too little in a prop firm, and don't risk too much on your personal.
I think that's pretty solid.
Risking too little is going to waste your time on a prop firm. You're going to fucking spend up and down, back and forth, left and right.
The biggest
Months later, you get a live account. You fucking should have worked the job that whole time.
I think the biggest thing with prop firms is wasting time, especially if you're hedging. It's like,
Yeah.
why spend so much time trying to pass a prop firm, especially if you're hedging, when you could fail or lose and try again or pass within a fucking a 4 to 8 time span. You know what I mean?
You could, yeah, I definitely agree. Don't risk too little on a prop firm, and definitely don't risk too much of your real money if you're trading with your real money.
Yeah, I agree with that. And here's some bonus questions I got for you. Cutting towards the end of the video now. So, what's the fastest you've ever lost $1,000 trading?
Actually, let's say real money or prop firm.
Realize anything.
Well, there was this one trade I took on a personal account where I had $3,000 I put in a personal account, and I forget some altcoin I was trading. I was scalping it and killing it, bro. It was like I was making like 300, 100. I was like scalping it up and down aggressively, and I ended up in one trade and it liquidated the whole account. So that was 3,000, but that was very bad. Like I was following the algorithm perfectly, and then it broke out of the algorithm and just started shooting one. I forget. I think it was shorts. I think it was in shorts, and it just started flying. But before that, I was consistently chopping it up, and yeah, that was the fastest. I lost not the 30 grand because that I don't really count because I guess that took a while to lose because I was up 10K, and then it took all night for it to take the 10K profit. I was up and my 10K deposit out. But 1,000. All right, but then we'll give an example for prop firm. Literally yesterday, I lost. Not yesterday. 2 days ago, I'll find it. I can't. I don't have a video of it, but I lost 1,000 in a minute and 40 seconds on a prop firm. Not even using a large lot size. I was using half a lot on gold, and I lost a 1,200 in a minute and 40 seconds. And then it took me 4 hours to make that back. So, like, it took me 4 hours to make that back, plus another 1% to take out. It just happens like that. Those candles are rare, though. That's why you have to not use too much leverage, because those candles like that, like I risk 1,000 and it slipped me to 1,300, even though I'm only using $50 a pip. So that's extra 6 pips of slippage right there. That could kill you depending on how much, you know what I mean? Like, if I doubled that, that would have almost blew the 2% rule on funding pips. That would have, if the lot size was doubled and I risked 1,000, I would have lost 1,600 on that. That's dangerously close from fucking blowing it.
What's the biggest payout you ever received?
That 4,000 I made on a single trade, that was the largest, but that was 80% prop, so that's 3,200. But like I said, I go for small gains, so it's not gonna be some crazy numbers like, oh, I made a $20,000 payout. No. Percentage gain. I've made trades back where I'm in drawdown deeply, like at 9,200 on a 10K or 92,000 on a 100K, and then I bring it all the way back to 9% gain. Like most of the big gains I get are just recovering drawdown, because like as soon as I see profit, I can withdraw it. I'm out. So I never really make big gains. So most of my big gains end up being recovering drawdown gains.
Can I see your desktop setup?
like my wall.
Yeah.
All right, that's hilarious. So, yeah. Oh fuck, dude. Price of breath. So we can analyze. So this is the box right here. You can see it turned into dashed lines. We took that low, took that high. Now we retested here, pushed lower. These are change of character. It made a high before making a lower low, and then it broke. Boom. Retested this box and then pushed all the way down to this fake change of character that didn't work. Finally,
I can't see that low. Yeah, there you go.
Finally, you got this fake change of character that doesn't work, because that's another thing I like to look for, a change of character that doesn't work, because then the second one that develops is going to be very strong. So this one becomes strong. Kind of up around. This is the kind of movement right here where you would see in like Asia, where there's not really much sense of much. You got a high. Actually, this does actually make sense. You got 1, 2, 3 hits to the high. Then it goes for this, which is a fair value gap that is in between the change of character. It's actually perfect. You stay at this thing, build another change of character. Then you got this OTE right here where it comes into this fair value. Boom. Finally, now you're coming back into this range back here. Finally, a day later, you're back in this range over here. Yeah, I draw my walls.
Hell yeah. Wait. Let me see. I mean, I'm sure the viewers already saw, but there's a glass bowl on his desk.
Oh yeah. You got these. You got the bear.
Hell yeah. I had something similar to that too. Remember that? Like that's like bull and bear. Like
yeah.
Bowl.
It was on like a steam ball.
Yeah, it was filled with like water with food coloring. It would dye like green bull and green dye. Like right?
That was so sick, bro. Fuck. What did you do with that?
I don't know, dude. I moved out of my mom's
What?
house. I didn't bring it with me. That shit was tough though.
Yeah.
If you had only one top tier story to give to the audience, not relating to trading, what's that story?
In what aspect?
Anything. What is your best story throughout your whole life? What's your like most memorable story that
Hey,
you think like if you were to compare your story to other multimillionaires, how would you fucking like
I don't know if this is just me being like I mostly only look at mistakes. I don't really have anything that particularly like I'm like, wow, that was a great thing I did. I only look at that's probably a bad thing on my part, but I make mistakes that I fucking I'm like, dude, if I go back in time, never do this, never do this, never do that. But I don't
just
know, man.
just give me like a story that you've had throughout your life where you're like, bro, the story's badass, and it's like if you were sitting at a table full of millionaires that were like sharing their best story they've ever had throughout their whole life. This is like anything, just like any it doesn't have to relate to money at all.
It's to come, bro. It hasn't happened yet.
Yeah,
It hasn't happened yet. It
like if
hasn't
you're
happened
sitting at a
yet.
table full of millionaires and they're all sharing their stories, how would you give your best story at this table full of
I would
millionaires?
give my best. I guess in that sense, I would guess my best story is just developing this overall ability to trade like this in this unique way. But in terms of life stories, fuck, I mean,
Yeah,
there's plenty of
life stories. We're talking about like I got fucking held at gunpoint in my Lamborghini. This is like stories that like millionaires would fucking
oh,
share. They're like it doesn't have to be a
one
fucking
time,
Lamborghini, you know what I mean? But it could be like fucking anything, like anything.
oh shit, man. One time I did stand my ground at a gunpoint. One time, oh my god, actually, yeah, fuck yeah, fuck yeah. This one time I was last in 2025 summer. I was with my little brother's friend, walking around in the beach, and he had a Louis Vuitton bag, and he fucking the random masked dude pulled up on him, pulled a gun on him, and told him give him everything. He gave over his diamond watch and his fucking bag and shit. And I just was not having that shit. And I tried to fight four dudes on the fucking boardwalk for his fucking bag. And I did. I just kept getting up. I kept getting fucking knocked down, back up. I fucking had a demon in my fucking soul until like I tried so hard to get that shit back. That was like that. And then another time at gunpoint, like probably like 5 years ago, this dude tried to fucking rob me for fucking like $500 worth of weed carts. And I was like, you're not gonna fucking pull that trigger, not pull that fucking trigger. Like, and it like he were sitting at a sheets. He's not gonna pull the trigger. I'm like, get the fuck out the car. And he got out the car, didn't know what to do, didn't take the cards. But those are my only fucking times I've been held at gunpoint and like said fuck you to the gun.
I mean, if you had a crazier story than gunpoint, you could tell it, but it doesn't have to do with gunpoint. Obviously, it's like anything that's like super like intriguing, where it's like you could have a
Most of
fucking
my shit has to do with fucking illegal
wait
stuff
wait
that's
wait Kai.
not
It's
be.
like imagine this, Kai. It's like all right, you're sitting at a table full of multimillionaires, and everybody's telling their story, and it comes to you, and you want to tell a story that you've actually lived, where it's like okay, everybody leans in, and they're interested. What's
Most every story I have is sadly like illegal or just dumb or something. Like one time I fucking was late to high school and I drove like 120 down a back road that was a 35-mile-an-hour road in my Beamer, and I hit a turn and it didn't hit the turn. I went off the road at 120 miles an hour in a cornfield and went a mile into this corn, and the car was fine. I was just like, holy shit.
the car is fine.
It was something fucking dodging the law or fucking dodging death. Unfortunately.
I mean, that's how a lot of stories happen to be. I mean, it always happens to be
Yeah.
something with the law or something with death, where it's like, okay,
Dodging the law or death, man. They're
people
fucking
love that shit, dude.
the only kind of stories I had. Dodging the law or dodging death. Those are the only stories I'm like, holy shit, what the fuck? Just adrenaline. I guess you guys can get the point. I'm a fucking adrenaline junkie. Trade, fucking drive too fast, risk my life.
Hell
God
yeah.
damn.
Well, I think that's the video. That's the
Hell
only
yeah.
question I had, dude. You got any
Guys,
questions?
stay tuned to Chase's channel. He's got a lot better things coming. This was really thrown together with our fucking not good webcams and a lot of rambling on. But if you got any good value from this, please drop a sub to his channel, and he has much better things coming in the future.
And if you guys got questions for Kai, hit him up in the DMs. I'm gonna leave his Instagram in the description below so that you can check his Instagram out and DM him if you have any questions. That's about it, guys.
Peace.
Thank you for watching.